I believe so. It does. All things do point to that. Dana has said it many times. We haven't signed a contract, but I would really, really hope so.
Dricus Du Plessis reveals he's ready to face Khamzat Chimaev at UFC's International Fight Week, promising to weather the storm and prove he's the true middleweight champion.
If he can last that long, he has to realize every round he's going to come out, I'm still going to be there like I was in the first, ready to kill.
Dricus Du Plessis recently discussed his upcoming plans for a potential title defense against Khamzat Chimaev, revealing his thoughts on the fight and what makes it such an exciting matchup. After successfully defending his UFC middleweight title in a dominant decision victory over Sean Strickland at UFC 312, Du Plessis shared with Ariel Helwani that he expects a showdown with Chimaev to be the next big challenge. Although no official date has been set yet, Du Plessis spoke about the possibility of fighting during UFC's International Fight Week in July, expressing his excitement about the potential to headline such a prestigious event. He mentioned that after his current vacation, he would be ready to discuss specific dates with the UFC, and the thought of headlining International Fight Week once again made him eager to prepare for the challenge ahead.
As of right now, that is the big thing, is taking this vacation. I'm here for the week, and then I'll be ready to make that decision. Get back to the gym and speak to my team, and then ultimately make the decision. Will we be ready for a date like that? Because that would be incredible if that's possible. I mean, International Fight Week's amazing. I've been lucky enough to fight on International Fight Week a couple of times, so to headline it will be something special.
International Fight Week has been a significant event in Du Plessis' UFC career. His breakout victory against Robert Whittaker at UFC 290 took place during the 2023 edition, and even before that, Du Plessis had competed in the event in 2022, where he won against Brad Tavares. These victories were pivotal in raising his profile in the middleweight division, and now, the prospect of facing a rising star like Khamzat Chimaev excites him further. Chimaev, an undefeated fighter with a reputation for brutal strength and explosive finishes, has also defeated Whittaker, submitting the former champion in a dominant fashion last year. Following that fight, the MMA world saw some shocking images of Whittaker's injuries, which included a broken jaw and detached teeth. Chimaev's rapid rise to the top has made him a feared fighter in the division, but Du Plessis isn't intimidated by his opponent's hype. Instead, he sees Chimaev's perceived aura of invincibility as something that he can break.
And I don't believe that. I believe at this level there's any intimidation. I don't believe it.
Du Plessis acknowledged that some fighters may be intimidated by Chimaev's confidence and persona, especially after he dominated Whittaker. However, he pointed out that both Kamaru Usman and Gilbert Burns, who have faced Chimaev in the past, were not intimidated by him. Du Plessis referred to their fights with Chimaev as examples of how top fighters, even in defeat, were able to withstand the pressure and showcase their resilience. He specifically mentioned how Usman, who fought Chimaev on short notice, and Burns, who faced him in a war of attrition, were able to push through his initial onslaughts and show that Chimaev, while impressive, was not unbeatable. Du Plessis made it clear that he does not see Chimaev as the boogeyman some others do, emphasizing that he views him as an opportunity to further cement his own legacy.
But I mean, if you look at the guys that he's fought, obviously the situation with Rob Whittaker was, that was big ups to Khamzat. He is an incredible fighter. He did what he did to Rob. Rob's teeth were already a problem, and that happened. It is what it is. But I mean, if you look at a guy like Kamaru Usman, what he did with Khamzat on 10 days' notice, you look at a Gilbert Burns, those guys don't get intimidated by people screaming "I smash" on the microphone after missing weight. That is not how it works. Guys like Gilbert Burns, Kamaru Usman, and Robert Whittaker don't get intimidated by that. So no, he went in there and he fought. And I mean, once again, in those fights, with Gilbert and Usman, we saw him. We saw what those guys were able to do. And those were smaller guys.
Looking ahead to a possible fight with Chimaev, Du Plessis sees the matchup as a battle of attrition. He believes that while Chimaev is incredibly dangerous in the first round, he is equally capable of withstanding the early storm and continuing to bring pressure throughout the fight. Du Plessis mentioned that he has proven his own durability in the later rounds of his fights, and this is where he plans to test Chimaev's endurance. He pointed out that if Chimaev continues to push at the same intensity in the second, third, fourth, and fifth rounds, it would only work to Du Plessis' advantage. The South African champion emphasized that his relentless approach would wear on Chimaev, and he intends to be just as aggressive in the later rounds as he is in the first. This, Du Plessis believes, would expose the only real hole in Chimaev's game, the ability to maintain that high level of intensity throughout 5 rounds.
When you go that hard, in round 2, 3, 4, 5 comes, you still have to be there, and I've proven that I am there in those rounds. So that is 100% a situation where I see if he can last that long, he has to realize every round he's going to come out, I'm still going to be there like I was in the first, ready to kill. And that will never change in my game.
Du Plessis also believes that Chimaev's style, which relies heavily on explosive bursts of aggression, might not be sustainable in a 5-round fight. He pointed to the fact that Chimaev has yet to be tested in the championship rounds, and it's uncertain how he would fare when the pace slows and the fight enters deeper waters. This is where Du Plessis believes he holds an advantage. His approach is to never back down and to keep pushing forward, regardless of the circumstances. By maintaining a relentless pace and continuing to pressure Chimaev, Du Plessis plans to exploit what he sees as a potential weakness in his opponent's game.
For me, it's just good to be fighting somebody with, what people think of Khamzat as this boogeyman. People, that's a fact. I don't see that. For me, I only see one thing, and that's the potential to do good to my legacy. The potential to even make my legacy even better.
For Du Plessis, a victory over Chimaev would not only be a massive personal achievement, but it would also solidify his place in the history of the middleweight division. While he is currently tied for the 3rd longest winning streak in middleweight history, Du Plessis has set his sights on the record held by Anderson Silva, who boasts 13 consecutive wins. However, Du Plessis made it clear that he is not content with being 3rd. He wants to be number 1. His goal is to break Silva's record and become the greatest middleweight of all time. Despite the challenges ahead, Du Plessis has never doubted his ability to achieve this. He has always believed that he was capable of filling the big shoes left by legendary figures like Silva and others. His confidence in his own skills and determination to achieve greatness are the driving forces behind his pursuit of the title and his aspirations for a legendary career.
Ariel, absolutely. I'm not celebrating being the 3rd best middleweight, the 3rd longest winning streak. Absolutely not. I am number 1, and that's what I'm going for. I never doubted myself for one single day. There wasn't a fight, there wasn't a time I've ever doubted it. And I knew there was work to be done. I knew I had big shoes to fill. Guys like a great Anderson Silva is one of my heroes in all sports. So I am not oblivious to the fact that how big these shoes are. But I have never for one day stood up when I woke up and thought, I can't pull these shoes. I know I will. That's what I'm after, and that's what I'm going for, the legacy of being the greatest to ever do this.
While Du Plessis exudes confidence and determination, there are others in the MMA world who remain skeptical about his chances against Chimaev. Shara Magomedov has been outspoken about his belief that Chimaev will eventually expose Du Plessis' style and take his belt. Magomedov pointed to Chimaev's exceptional grappling and data-driven approach, suggesting that the undefeated contender has the tools to defeat Du Plessis. Magomedov's comments, however, reveal a sense of doubt about Du Plessis' rise to the top, with some attributing his success to luck rather than skill. Regardless of the skepticism, Du Plessis has consistently silenced his critics with his performances, proving time and again that his victories are no fluke. Bullet said, "I will be very happy if Du Plessis loses his belt. I don't understand how he managed to get this belt. Chimaev has the data to defeat Dricus. I hope that nothing will stop him from coming out in the best shape and demonstrating his level. Maybe it's stupid to say, but Du Plessis seems to be lucky." On the other hand, Reiner de Ridder, a former 1 middleweight champion, has trained with both Du Plessis and Chimaev and offers an insightful perspective on the upcoming fight. De Ridder believes that Du Plessis will be one of the toughest challenges for Chimaev, particularly when it comes to defending against takedowns. While Chimaev is known for his explosive wrestling and pressure, De Ridder points out that Du Plessis is far from an easy target. His unorthodox style and good footwork make him difficult to take down, and De Ridder does not foresee Chimaev being able to land an easy takedown on Du Plessis. According to De Ridder, if Chimaev fails to finish the fight early, the longer the fight goes, the more it will favor Du Plessis, who is known for his durability and heavy hands. He said, "I don't see Khamzat taking him down right away, and to be honest, I don't see Khamzat choking him out in the first round. And then every round he doesn't choke him out, it's gonna get worse for him, because with that unorthodox style of Dricus and those heavy hands, I think it might be a long night for Khamzat." Another fighter who has weighed in on the potential matchup is Yoel Romero. Romero, who has an Olympic silver medal in freestyle wrestling, praised Chimaev's wrestling, but also suggested that Du Plessis would have a chance to outlast him. Romero sees Chimaev as a slight favorite, giving him a 60-40 edge over Du Plessis, mainly due to his superior wrestling. However, Romero noted that Du Plessis' ability to endure and continue fighting in the later rounds could make a big difference. If the fight goes past the first couple of rounds, Chimaev could struggle to maintain the same pace, and Du Plessis could take over, especially with his durability and strength.
16-40. 16-40. Khamzat.
You have what, sorry? Who do you think? 60 Dricus?
16% for Chimaev and 40% for Du Plessis. Yeah, that's a way.
So you think Chimaev? You're kind of slightly leaning towards Chimaev.
Yes.
Why? Why do you think?
Wrestling. The wrestling. The wrestling for Chimaev right now is very, very dangerous.
Former UFC middleweight champion Robert Whittaker also shared his thoughts on the potential fight. Whittaker believes that Chimaev would approach the fight in a similar manner to his previous bouts, focusing on taking his opponent down and controlling them on the ground. However, Whittaker acknowledged that Du Plessis' size and strength could be a significant factor. He pointed out that Chimaev might have more success against a fighter like Strickland, who doesn't possess the same physicality as Du Plessis. Whittaker also mentioned how difficult it is to stop Chimaev's first takedown, describing it as one of the most dangerous moves in MMA. This indicates that Du Plessis will need to be especially prepared to defend against Chimaev's explosive wrestling and first-round onslaught.
Khamzat against Dricus or Sean, do you think he'd be the favorite against either of them?
I think he just takes him down, and like how he beat Usman, how he beat Gert Burns, I can see those sort of fights. I think he'd have more success with Strickland than Du Plessis. Because Du Plessis is like a big dude. But ultimately, stopping that first takedown is so crazy. The way he shoots in that first shot is crazy. How do you stop that dude? Jump over him.
Din Thomas has a slightly different take on the fight. He believes that Chimaev's aggressive style will be his greatest strength in the early rounds, but will become a liability if the fight extends into the later rounds. According to Thomas, Chimaev's tendency to fight at an intense pace early on could be a double-edged sword. While it may give him an advantage in the first round, Du Plessis' durability and ability to weather storms would likely see him overcome Chimaev's initial blitz. By the time the third round arrives, Thomas believes that Chimaev will begin to fade and Du Plessis will have the opportunity to take control of the fight. He said, "I think Khamzat is a sprinter. If you were to make fights one 5-minute round, Khamzat beats anybody in the world, any weight class. But you can't fight championship level fights for 5 rounds at the pace where he's at his best. If he fights like that at his best, I think Dricus is so durable and he's so smart that he'll be able to withstand that. Now they're swimming in deep water, and Khamzat can't swim that deep." Chael Sonnen expressed his confusion over why the fight between Du Plessis and Chimaev hasn't been booked yet. Sonnen believes that Chimaev has earned his spot as the #1 contender, but wonders why the fight is taking so long to materialize. He noted that Chimaev was once one of the most marketable fighters in the UFC, but the recent lack of clarity surrounding his status has left fans frustrated. Sonnen emphasized that the UFC should announce the fight soon, as the entire division is waiting for clarity on what's next for both Du Plessis and Chimaev.
Spoke on that. It has been very unclear, and he's something special, and he definitely is the clearest #1 contender we have in any division. It is clearly his fight, but book it or announce that you're not going to book it. It's one of the two.
The crazy thing is the champion DDP, he's been after this guy for the last few fights. He told me that in Sydney he wanted to fight him. Now he's saying he's trying to fight him. I just haven't seen a situation where the champ is almost chasing the contender more than the contender is chasing the champ. I suppose it's the Tom Aspinall, John Jones situation, if you call John Jones the heavyweight champion, which is arguable. But this is another situation that's pretty crazy.
And moreover, Bo Nickal believes a fight between him and Khamzat Chimaev would be one of the most exciting matchups the UFC could make. While he acknowledges it won't happen immediately, he sees it as just behind John Jones versus Tom Aspinall and Ilia Topuria's next fight in terms of significance. Nickal is confident the matchup will happen if he keeps winning and feels both he and Chimaev would be eager for the challenge. He said, 100%, that's the most exciting fight there is in the division in my opinion. I think as far as the fights in the UFC, you've got at the top, Jones and Aspinall. You got Ilia potentially with Islam or another 55er, and then I think right after that, the most exciting fight next is me and Khamzat. That's something that the fans need to see, that I want to see. I'm sure he wants it as well, so I just got to keep winning fights and we'll make it happen. As the anticipation builds for a potential super fight between Dricus Du Plessis and Khamzat Chimaev, the MMA world remains divided on who will emerge victorious. While Du Plessis' unorthodox style and determination have earned him the champion's belt, Chimaev's undefeated record and relentless aggression make him a formidable opponent. So what are your thoughts about this fight? Do let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and check out some of our other videos on the screen right now.